All right, folks, welcome back to the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network. This is Radio's Yard. This is a special edition of Radio's Yard, and you're going to see this, by the way, every single week during the NFL season. We had to do a little preview action here. If you know the podcast from days past, this used to be called Zach and the Nose. We have changed it. Huge new name. You want to know what the new name is?
This is news to me. You're breaking news about our own show right now.
Right. Okay. Now it's called Radio in the Nose.
Radio in the Nose.
Is that a big change?
Times are changing.
Times are changing.
I could go with it. I could work with it.
Radio in the Nose it is, so we're going to stick with that right now. Let's get into everything. Obviously, we do fantasy football here. This is a fantasy football podcast. Me and the Nose have been doing this for a very long time. I've known the Nose since we're very young kids. I've known his wife even longer than that. We have been family friends, but one thing we do have in common more than anything is for the last probably, am I guessing, 15, 16 years? Am I close? Maybe more than that?
Together, collectively, we are on like year 16, 17.
Okay.
I've been doing it since the mid-90s.
Way more than that, right. I've been in fantasy football for a long time, but me and the Nose have been doing literally a fantasy football podcast for almost 20 years now, about 16, 17 years. We've moved it here now to the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network. We're excited to start here. We're going to go over draft strategy with you today. The Nose is going to give you all his big picks for the season, including, as we always do, and if you've watched the show before, at the end, the Nose pick of the year is going to be on this episode here of Radio in the Nose. I'm very excited about that. When we get into the regular season Nose, we're going to go back to all our former unbelievable segments, our award-winning segments.
Award-winning.
Remember, I have to say that.
Yes.
It's going to be yes or no's. We're going to have our nose picks of the week. We're going to have our observations. We're going to go through all that stuff as we normally do. The only good thing is now that Kobe, everyone that knows from my Live at a Dollar Podcast Network, my right-hand man, the 1B, I would be 1B. He's 1A on the podcast network. Kobe's going to be doing with the Brain Trust guys in the back, yes or no's. They're going to be in charge of that each week, not me. Only thing I'll be in charge of is the 10th question, and that's the one where I normally get into your personal shit.
Fair enough.
So that's what we're going to
I'm not going to lie to you right now. This is the first time we've done this in like 17 years. Never a camera on us.
Right.
Like what,
always like a Zoom camera.
Don't know what to do with my hands.
Just play with your hands like this. It's okay. We'll start with this. All right, let's get started. Let's get right to the meat and potatoes of all this at this point. Drafts are going on right now. Drafts are coming up for a lot of people. We are a couple weeks away from the opener of the NFL. Thank you, football gods. We're there. We always go over a little bit of strategy before we go. We're going to get into your top 10 list. We're going to get into who you like, who you don't like, who you should draft and not draft. But go over one more time for the people, the Nose's strategy on how to win your fantasy football league.
So, like, every year it's different, and we've had to evolve, right? Back in the 90s, for those who have been going for that long, it was always running back to start. You know, that's changed since the PPR league has taken over, and the wide receivers. And this is not, the Dan Marino era where he was the only one throwing it like a crazy person then. Now everybody is throwing the ball like nuts. So here's what we're doing, okay? Usually it would always be you start off with any combination, 3 running backs, 3 wide receivers, and then a tight end. I usually am going 7 deep, and then I take my quarterback.
Okay.
Because every year there's 1 or 2 quarterbacks, and then it all just evens out. Zach, for the first time in a very, very long time, I am okay with it if you, in the 3rd round of your draft, want to go with one of the top 5 and only top 5 quarterbacks.
Wow,
only.
This is different this year.
This is different.
Wow.
So it is my experience. I'm going to just, again, there's no computer in front of me right now.
Just in front of me.
Let's see how good the Nose really is.
Right.
I mean, you can see why I am called the Nose. Now that I have a camera on me, I'm going to be okay. It's just getting through this right now.
Right.
But ultimately, you got Josh Allen, you got Jalen Hurts, you got Joe Burrow, you got Jaden Daniels, and I need one more.
Lamar?
I need Lamar Jackson.
Right, you need Lamb Jack, right?
Boom. That's top 5. Okay, and then after that, there is a honorable mention of Baker Mayfield.
That's incredible to hear.
So from that point forward, especially in 12-team leagues,
right?
If you don't have one of those top 5, with the honorable mention of Baker, you are having a major drop-off fantasy point-wise if you are going with a guy that doesn't have that big year. So, like, the biggest sucker bet, please, guys, do not do this. Whatever you fucking do not draft.
I know where this is going.
Do not draft Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. I knew this was going
This is the 3rd year. How many?
That's why I knew this was coming, right? I saw it coming from a mile away.
How many years have I done this?
This is at least year 3, if not year 4 or 5, where you're just like, just stay away from Pat Mahomes.
Don't be the guy or girl who goes into your draft, gets a little lost, and then feels comfortable because Patrick Mahomes is there, and Yahoo or ESPN have him at the highest point of the list.
Right.
Because honestly, really, really sometimes not intelligent people make those lists, and the ones who just go off the top of Yahoo or the top of ESPN, Those, you might get a great grade
Right,
draft, and you
right.
get so excited because they gave you an A. Great, guys. You went with what the machine came out with, and you're going to lose your fantasy league. But to not to go too far, Patrick Mahomes only has one receiver named Xavier Worthy, and outside of that, it's dinking and dunking and a heavy run game.
Right.
So overall, Zach, the top 5 guys that I mentioned,
Right.
with Burrow being the fifth, those top 5 guys, if you want to go and select them in the 3rd round, I am giving you that carte blanche. Go
So
for it.
Baker's there in the 3rd round. You're okay with someone taking him?
No, I said top 5. That's the
Oh,
6th.
okay. That's 6. That's the honorable mention.
So
I just wanted to
he's
make
the-
sure. I had to put that out there. Right.
Fair enough. Maybe in the 4th round, and if you're getting antsy and you really don't want to go with a Jared Goff, and if you really don't want to go with a Justin Herbert or Kyler Murray or Dak Prescott, I have Baker ahead of those guys. He was so good last
He
year.
was. I know.
But there's a new offensive coordinator. But we'll talk about it later in the show. Emeka Egbuka, incredibly talented 1st-round pick out of The Ohio State University, is going to be a playmaker.
Right.
And Chris Godwin might be out for a few weeks, but with him and Mike Evans, Egbuka, this offense is going to be humming. That being said, I'd much rather you take maybe Bucky Irving in your late 2nd versus Baker. So
Right.
overall, though, this is different.
Okay.
If you want one of those top 5 quarterbacks in the 3rd round, I'm giving you permission, or I'm telling you it's a pretty good idea if you go in that direction. But then you better back that pick up with multiple running backs,
Right.
multiple wide receivers, and then come up with your tight end a little bit later. And we could go over some of the later tight ends, the guys that I like that are sleepers or guys that you're looking to have that top 7 value,
Right.
but you're drafting them in round 10 or 13.
Right.
Well, 10 through 13.
Sidebar for that, 2-quarterback league. What's the strategy there early in a 2-quarterback league? As you know, one of my leagues, it's a super flex. Where do I target the first quarterback there? Because I see whenever someone's doing a mock draft for a super flex league.
Okay. Superflex is a whole different ballgame.
No, I know. Right. So quick strategy, very quickly. You don't have to go into a whole rant about it. First 3 rounds, are you definitely taking a quarterback in a super flex league, or are you pulling the same kind of strategy your way where you're waiting on maybe the Goff and the Stafford in like 10, 11 or whatever it is? Because in that league, for me, you're allowed only 4 quarterbacks on your roster.
Right.
That's it. You can't have a 5th one on there. If someone's injured, you can put someone on the IR, but the minute they come off, you got to take them off. Where do you go there? First 3 round kind of nose prediction of what to do. Do you take a quarterback? Do you go after a monster? Do you take 2 quarterbacks possibly?
Okay, so for the audience, we've been doing this for a very long time.
Right.
When I speak and I talk about our strategies in the general sense, I need to speak to the masses. So
Right.
we're really talking about a half PPR, full PPR, 10 to 12 team
Yep.
league. Now, if you want to get into super flex or 2 quarterback systems, entirely different ball.
Of course, right.
Super flex, for those who don't know, you could start 2 quarterbacks. You have your quarterback, and then the flex spot, that super sort of means you can start a quarterback.
Right.
If that is the case, we are talking first rounds, guys. We are
Gotta grab one.
right off the
Okay,
bat.
I knew that, but I just wanted to make sure.
Those
Right.
top 5 quarterbacks I mentioned should be all gone by the 10th overall pick. Now, there's some super special players out
Right.
there. I think Jamar Chase is obviously super special. I think Saquon Barkley. Those guys are invaluable to me. But overall, in a super flex league, you're addressing your quarterbacks who score the most points in your fantasy league. You're addressing it earlier than most leagues.
Okay, I figured there are going to be people out there like myself that are in leagues that have multiple quarterbacks or have 2 or have that super flex. I just want to know, because the normal strategy you gave out there, if you have been following that strategy for the last 4 or 5 or 6 years as we do it, the pre-draft pod every year, that's worked. It's worked. You probably have gotten at least into the playoffs, if not won your league, by going through that strategy. Okay, so that's all I wanted to get with that. No more nerdy stuff on that. The draft strategy's out. Now let's get into some meat, some potatoes, the rankings, the list, the things that get the most views and clicks and hot takes and everything. Do you have a top 10 kind of overall list in your head or on the piece of paper in front of you?
Yeah, let's get nerdy.
Let's get nerdy. I'm excited. Right.
Like
right,
everybody loves the top something.
The
right?
rankings are the hits, right?
It's the hits.
Right.
It's ugly, and I'm not going to lie to you. I got a little bit different of a take than your professionals or your experts out there.
Right.
And now, obviously, I'm very, very cocky and or self-confident in my abilities. And let me start off with the number 1 overall pick is different than everybody else. Zach, I don't get it. I wanted to talk about it. Saquon Barkley is the best running back in the game. He was drafted to be the best running back in the game. He went to the Giants, complete fail. But now he goes to the Eagles. He's got the best offensive line. He has an incredible incredible running talent, obviously. And last year was incredible, but especially during the playoffs when it's cold in Philadelphia and the weather gets tight, they run the ball. And he is my number one overall pick. To get a running back of his value with the first pick of the draft, it's a no-brainer to me. And yes, I understand the argument. Can you do it 2 years in a row? Look, you could. How many times we're going to get into Christian McCaffrey? Do you take the risk or not? Like, these are like the popular things. Overall, to me, the best offensive player in football in the non-quarterback position is Saquon Barkley, and I'm taking him number one overall.
Okay, I like it. I mean, listen, after last season, how could you doubt a guy like that, especially with, like you said, the offensive line, the quarterback, the offensive scheme they use, all that. Now, obviously, the counter to that is going to be like, well, can he do it 2 years in a row? He's never really done that 2 years in a row. He's also never had this offensive line or this offense or Jalen Hurts for 2 years in a row either. He also hasn't had outside receivers like he has where they have to worry about A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith or Dallas Joe Dirt in there also. Like, these guys, you got to have those guys. And all of a sudden, he's got everything around him again. I expect another big season out of him as well. I totally do with that as well.
It's so impossible. It stinks to have the first pick in so many senses because it's not an easy pick, and you need that production. And to me, this is the safest play, believe it or not, is Saquon Barkley. As long as, and this goes for anybody, as long as he stays healthy, he'll get the workload. I don't think he was worked too hard last year. He's that kind of different kind of player. So that's my number one overall. Straight to number two, where everybody's got going number one. You can't go wrong with Ja'Marr Chase.
Yeah.
It's just very simple. If you want to start off in a PPR league, especially with your wide receiver one being Ja'Marr Chase, I have no problem with it. So those two picks for me are definitely interchangeable based on your style of play.
But now I feel like things are going to change going to get to three.
Well, for me, three is going to be a little different. Again, I'm a little different, but Marla Gibbs' son, for those who know, what was it, 227?
That's right.
Marla Gibbs' son, Jahmyr Gibbs, in Detroit is so special. Zach, there was not one player who had a more consistent season than he did last year. He had 70 yards of total yards scrimmage.
Right.
70 plus all season long. Biggest breakaway player. Your negatives are, okay, so David Montgomery signed a big contract.
That always scares me, right? Of course.
He's going to stake you. And Ben Johnson, who is one of the most prolific offensive coordinators, has now taken his talents to Chicago.
Right.
Does that change anything? To me, it may change something, but it's not deterring me from taking this guy with the number 3 overall pick right before number 4 overall, Bijan Robinson.
All right, I like that.
And Bijan's a star. So for me, the top 4, and you could look, if your guy is Bijan, and if your guy is Gibbs, take the guy. I have no problem with it. Those top 4 picks to me are interchangeable. They're winners. And God, the fantasy football gods of health and all of these situations have to come in and take over.
Right.
Number 5 is this one slight drop off only because of the quarterback the unknown, which we always discuss, of J.J. McCarthy, which is, of course, the best wide receiver in the game, Justin Jefferson. And so for me, he's your 5th overall pick. Very easy. So to me, it's a clean top 5. Now here's where it gets a little murky and where people are going to have different opinions. Number 6 overall, not going to be a popular pick with a lot of people because they are afraid, and they should be. Because how many times can someone get burned by Christian McCaffrey?
I know. Me.
But let me tell you, you give me this crystal ball. You give me a crystal ball, Zach, and you tell me this year Christian McCaffrey is playing every game or maybe even misses just 1 or 2 games, I'm picking him number 1 overall.
Wow. Okay.
Dude, he's still okay, so again, we have to take with all the information that comes through the social media and everything we read, you got to take some with a grain of salt or whatever, but everything I'm seeing is he is looking beyond sharp. They shut him down last year to be ready for this year.
Right.
So for me, at the 6th slot, I'm taking that shot because I the running back position gets a lot more, again, it gets more.
Well, a huge drop off.
There's just drop off.
Huge drop
with
off.
A lot of guys. For me, CMC, I'm taking that risk. Number 7 overall, we're just going to do a top 10. Number 7 overall, I'm going with CeeDee Lamb.
Okay.
CeeDee Lamb goes to me in that category with Chase and with Jefferson as like just the elite wide receivers in terms of just route running, playmaking, hands, etc. So to me, he's a very safe pick. The only thing that I'm very curious to see is I am obsessed with George Pickens.
I know you are.
I love him.
I know you are.
And last year, he was managed when he was playing to be good with absolutely horrible quarterback play. Now with Pickens as the 2, double team on CD Lamb, Dak Prescott there. The question is how many targets does CD Lamb get less? Maybe picks up Pickens. I'm not saying much. I'm still recommending him at the 7th overall pick because he's that good. But just keeping an eye out because I don't know how much we're going to get to on this show. George Pickens, if your draft is coming up, I really love as, that 5th, 6th round comes if he's still available. Where we got? Number 8 overall?
Yep.
Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Well, okay, I like that.
Just as consistent and simple of a player, he's going to get his 100 catches in a full PPR league. He's wonderful. The problem with the Lions, and we have 2 players already in our top 9, is there are so many balls to go around there. You got Jamar Gibbs.
Who's scoring touchdowns?
You got Montgomery. You got Amon-Ra St. Brown, who is fantastic. Jameis Williams, he's
sick. He's going to have another breakout year, I think,
And
too.
by the way, Laporte is a really good tight end,
After
too.
last year also. How about a drop-off for Laporta last year? You got to think there's going to be some sort of a comeback. So, Laporta, Montgomery, Gibbs, Jameson Williams, and Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's a lot to go with one football on the field at one time. That's why it's almost scary when you say, and I listen to your list, and I hear 2 Lions in the first 9 or first 8. I almost want to stay away from both, although both guys are good players, right?
Nope. They're that good. That offense, I'm just going to believe that they're going to keep that momentum, that creativity going, even though Ben Johnson isn't there. And I'm sticking with and recommending both those guys at that point. Let's finish off with number 9 and then number 10.
That's
number 9, this was a tough one between the 9 and 10, both running back positions. But Zach, I'm obsessed with this Boise State rookie running back, Ashton
Jeanty. Wow. I
Jeanty,
like that.
Getting that ball from my boy Geno Smith, okay? Jeanty, guys, if you didn't see the preseason, is running through people already. He's got the speed. He's got the power. The only 2 running backs that I'm going to just come off the top of my head right now that I remember being a rookie running back that I was this excited about taking this early are only 2.
I'm trying to think.
You're trying to think. Keep thinking.
2 rookie running backs.
Beasts.
Derrick Henry.
That's one. Thank you.
Kobe, have anyone in your head that you could think of? Another
Beasts,
rookie running back?
last 15 years.
Not Marshawn Lynch.
Adrian Peterson.
Oh,
Okay.
my God.
So-
JT's going to kill us.
So-
Oh, my God.
So to me,
By the way, at the Backyard Breaks
Okay.
VIP party at the National, by the way, Adrian Peterson made an appearance. Go ahead. Keep going.
AP.
He was there, right?
He's a
Couldn't believe
stud.
it, right?
So many
Yeah.
reasons right now too.
Right.
But to me, Jeanty, I know you might have reservation. Again, the unknown is very sometimes hard
course.
to pick. Okay,
Right.
we discussed that. The rookie wide receivers, some hit huge, some don't hit huge. But for this pick, I am believing that the Raiders are going to really give them the ball. I'm talking 20 plus touches per game, ground and pound, double-digit touchdowns. I am very safe, and I'm a big upside guy.
Sure.
I do not love the safe pick. I like the exciting pick that has the information, at least the chance to blow up. So I'm going with Jeanty with the 9, and to finish off my list, because of the respect, he's been a big part of our show.
Gotta be King Henry.
It's King Henry.
Gotta be King Henry, right?
Look, and I know there's Justice Hill there and Mitchell's there. I don't care. I was watching his workouts in South Florida, okay, and he's running up hills. He is still a beast until we see that drop off. You never want to take the guy that when they drop off. When do you take Mike Evans? When does that fall off, right? For me, Derrick Henry is still worthy of the 10th overall pick and makes the nose top 10. So
I like that.
There we go.
Listen,
got through it.
I like that. I like the top 10 list in general because of the fact that the only things that scare me a little bit are the 2 guys from Detroit, but eventually this Detroit team is going to be one of the highest scoring teams. They're going to score a lot of touchdowns. As long as Montgomery, if I have Gibbs, doesn't steal all the touchdowns from me, I'm feeling good on that one also. All right. You did bring up a couple rookies. I know you have a little bit of a top 10 list for rookies. You don't need to go into complete detail if you don't want to, but talk about a couple of those guys and how you kind of rate them at that point, because I feel like this is going to be one of those years where there's going to be 5 or 6 or 7 rookies picked pretty early because I think people are going to take shots at them, and I think they're actually going to work out, especially if you said, like you said, Jeanty in the first round. Oh, my God.
I'm going to just rip off. I'm
Let's
going to rip
do it.
off 10 right in a row. Jeanty, I love him, okay? But Omari and Hampton, you have to keep a close eye
Love
on.
that guy, right?
So North Carolina, rookie running back, goes to the Chargers. Chargers have Harbaugh ground and pound.
Right.
The only real bummer to this, Rashawn Slater going out for the year.
Yeah, that hurts.
Best offensive lineman in the
Hurts.
game.
Yeah,
that hurts. But my God, the biggest hype on the season right now is Trevian Henderson.
Right.
Look, he might be going too early now in your draft,
Right.
but
People are going to take shots.
everyone's
on him.
trying
Right.
to find that next Bucky Irving type of player.
Right.
The guy you draft late that gives you top 5 to 7 running back value. He's got a shot at it. So if you want Trevion Henderson and he's still around in the 6th round, that's where he's about going right now. If you see him right there, that's your opportunity.
Yep.
Breakaway speed, Ohio State running back. We all saw him win a natty. And I think he's going to be a really great job in that Josh McDaniel, which is a very heavy run offense.
Right. They love to run the
We discussed Emeka Ibuka.
Yeah.
Guys, I really like him. With Godwin now out and in that offense, I think he's going to be your best wide receiver rookie, just over McMillan, who was drafted extremely high for Bryce Young. Not as high on him because I got to see Bryce Young sort of do it. Now, do I like the potential?
Right.
Yes.
There is this potential there. Bryce Young kind of puts it all back together again. The end of last season, Bryce Young was playing really good ball. You put another wide receiver there, especially a young guy who wants to eat early. Maybe that does work out good for him. And McMillan might be, what is he, 6th on your list now? By the end of the season, it could be 2 or 3 if he ends up, or he could be at 12.
So he's one of those players that is a definitely buy at your own risk,
Right,
because in Carolina,
High risk, high reward.
This thing could go down, but they're going to get him the ball. Oh, trust me. People drafted him very high. They will try to get him the ball, and his framework, he should have a good year. So I do like him. RJ Harvey in Denver, everyone's really high on him. Really good player. The one that I cannot put any recommendation on, and because I can't do it, you can't do it, all the guys on ESPN can't do it, is Travis Hunter.
I knew it was going there.
Look, you want to take Travis Hunter much later on in the draft, great. We do not know. They'll tell you 80% share. We do not know how many plays on offense he's going to get. As you know, fantasy is all about opportunity.
Right.
We simply don't know. Now, they have a great wide receiver on the other side, Brian Thomas Jr. So that being Travis Hunter being a second, I think his name is going to be exciting. I think he's going to be sexy, and I think he's going to be taken too high. I love the player, but if he's playing both ways, I'm going to wait to see what he looks like this year and likely not draft him.
Yeah, I think it's a long shot there to see what he actually ends up doing. He could be amazing, could be great, could be the number 2 to Brian Thomas Jr. and Trevor Lawrence has a breakout season because of that. But also, like you said, what happens by week 3 if the offense isn't really rolling the way he wants and they put him more on defense than offense, and you have this guy drafted in your 6th round,
right?
All of a sudden you have a defender on your team and you don't really draft defenders unless you're in a independent defensive league. That's fine. But okay, so what else we got here? That's 7.
I'm going to drop 3 quickly more.
Let me hear it.
Caleb Johnson, the rookie running back from Iowa in Pittsburgh, has every opportunity of being that guy there. They hadn't had it. Najee Harris now with the Chargers on my do not draft list, but Caleb Johnson is a rookie running back, should have enough carries to warrant a pick where he, in a great case scenario for you, you just slide him into your RB2, and
right.
if he hits, that's how you win fantasy leagues.
Yeah, of course.
And I wanted to drop 2 tight ends that I like, because if you don't get basically the top 3 guys, I recommend waiting, because then I think if you're taking the Laporta or the TJ Hawkinson too early because the top 3 guys went off the board,
right,
which are Bowers, McBride, and Kittle. Then after that, I'm waiting, and I'm going to say Tyler Warren for Indianapolis, where I'm hearing rumors of a little bit of a push-tush with Tyler Warren. That could be an interesting one in Indianapolis. Daniel Jones is going to need to use him. He's a great weapon. And Colston Loveland, the Michigan guy, now going into the Bears offense. Nice. And Caleb Johnson, Ben Johnson has been using. And
put
Caleb
it all together. You put it all together in one.
Had no idea how that happened.
Right, well done.
But you caught it.
Yeah.
I really like him as a sleeper tight end as well. So the quick tight end strategy, guys, if you don't take the top 3 guys, why don't you wait and take 2 of those kind of guys later on, address your running backs, get your depth in the running back, wide receiver position, then drop the tight ends, but not 1, but give me Utah 2 tight ends later on in the draft.
I like it. All right, Nose. Now that we have kind of the rookies out of the way, you know when this happens, you give a top 10 list, you give your rookies, now everyone's looking for the one guy, the sleeper, the sleepers, whatever you got here. Everyone wants the guy that no one knows about in the 12th round, in the 10th round, late in the 8th, whatever it is, back in the 16th, that they can pick out to win their fantasy football league. Do you have a couple sleepers for the people out there?
God,
Everyone loves them.
so nerdy.
I know it's very, yeah, but this is a nerdy podcast.
Can you give me your top 10
Yes.
sleepers?
I love rankings. I love nerdy stuff. You know me for a long time. I'm
All
a
right.
big fantasy nerd.
You could use the word sleeper. I'm going to give you guys that are maybe a little bit off the radar. You might want to hear
Off
it
the
from-
radar is good. I
off
like
the
that.
radar. But
Yeah.
the first one is not a sleeper, but I'm going to throw it again because he's not the nose pick of the year. But
That's
he was
coming up, by the way, at
He
the end
was
of the pod.
he was a candidate, and that's Slim Pickens. Okay, again, I discussed him.
You love him.
Dallas. We're talking about talent-wise, one of the better wide receivers in the league.
Right?
As long as he stays healthy and if he has single coverage, oh my God, Dak Prescott's going to have a good season also because
Right,
of that.
right.
So, Slim Pickens, but overall, some players that I want you to look into. Okay, I really am a believer in the Chicago Bears offense having a major step forward this year.
Right.
Ben Johnson is a offensive genius. They did things last year in Detroit that were so fun. Offensive linemen are catching balls for touchdowns. They're doing hook and ladders. I mean, this is a very explosive, smart offense, and they're going to need a running back that's going to be able to really handle some of the load, and that person is not DeAndre Swift. in my opinion.
Okay, I like this.
So one of my sleepers is Roshan Johnson.
I like that.
He's a late pick. I'm talking late picks, guys, and then you know what? This might not turn into anything.
Right.
But
Someone wants
also
it.
has the potential to turn into the type of player that wins your fantasy league. Everyone's going to have their top players. It's how we fill in those little gaps. And Rashawn Johnson is a player that by week 4, week 5, very much might have that opportunity. I really ugly, but again, we're talking about after all the fun picks, and you're sitting
Right,
there.
right.
What do I do?
Right.
I like Tyrone Tracy from the
Love
Giants.
that name. Right.
Okay. Yes, Cam Scabado is going to be a very
Right.
popular player. That
course
guy,
he is,
but
right.
He's already banged up. Okay, Tyrone Tracy catches the ball out of the backfield, and I think they're going to use him as a good PPR guy. I think he is a nice, talented player,
Right.
and I think he's going to, at least at the beginning of the season, give you some value. And you got to start off. So if you have one of those leagues that's 3 wide receivers, 2 running backs, and a flex, I like him as your flex
I
quite
like
a
that.
bit.
I like it.
Some other names, man. I know this could go bad, but there's always a time and place for every player. So that's the rule. Is always is like there's nobody on my do not draft list. Now we're gonna have one coming up, but there's always a player. We're making it a point do not draft, but
Right.
somebody that I would say is on the do not draft list every year because of injury is J.K. Dobbins.
Oh yeah. I
But-
know.
In Denver, I love Bo Nix as a player that's going to take a step forward. I love that offensive coach. I think with R.J. Harvey, who is the rookie, I still think J.K. Dobbins has that chance early in the season to
Yeah,
come out
yes,
like
yes,
he
yes.
normally does. The question is going to be, is he going to tear another ACL?
Gotta
I
hope
can't
not.
answer that.
Right,
But
gotta
he's
hope
going
not.
late in
For his
drafts, and he's got the potential to be a really good fantasy player for you. Again, I'm talking 10 to 15 fantasy points in your flex position. Give him a look. Worst case, take him in a spot where if he gets hurt, you just drop the guy
That's
and,
it.
and,
Right,
and
right.
you move on. If you're looking for backups to starting running backs that have that potential to break out, the number one player I like right now is the New York Jets' Braylon Allen.
Oh yeah, of course. God, you're talking. Listen, you're talking in this house right now in the backyard breaks house. I literally pull a Braylon Allen card in every single box. At this point, he's got to be something big for somebody. At this point, I love that name. By the way, I hate the Jets. Hate the Jets. We're not talking about teams here. We're talking about fantasy football. I love Braylon Allen.
Not only is he going to take share from Brees Hall, but if Brees Hall, who is also injury prone, goes down, now you're talking about an RB1 plug right in.
Right.
So let's be very clear. We always talk about handcuffing your players. It's like a 101 thing. If you do fantasy, if you pick, a starting running back, and if they're a little, injury prone, if you take Brees Hall, you must take Braylon
Right.
Allen, and you
Right.
take him around earlier than you should. Take that situation and hold it tight. But I really like him. Some wide receivers I really like. Ricky Pearsall,
Oh,
Florida
yeah.
Gator,
Right.
right now with Brandon.
Ayuk.
out for what's going to look like at least half this season.
I miss doing that.
Ricky Pearsall is a really good player. Also, Joanne Jennings had a few monster weeks last week. Really like him too. With a healthy Christian McCaffrey, it opens up everything.
Right.
And Brock Purdy could get the ball. So those are two players I like. What else do I have written down here? If you want to get down a little bit more into the deeper sleeper range, Jaden Higgins is now the number 2 in Houston. And that whole offensive line is such a disaster. And that's why, you guys, you're seeing right now all of the players on that team are on the do not really draft type of side.
Right.
I still believe in CJ Stroud.
Yep.
Nico Collins is always hurt, although, let me tell you, that guy is special.
Right.
Okay. But deep cut type of player, Jaden Higgins is a really nice, because he's going to stick as the wide receiver too, because Stephon Diggs is now in New England.
Right. Tank Dell, gee, I mean, like.
Right. It's slim pickings there.
Right.
And so,
right.
again, you're at the end of your draft. You see this guy, and he's one of those names that you see. Let it trigger in your brain. Take a flyer on him. So there are some of the sleepers.
I like that. All right. We're going to do yes or no's here in just a second, but give me a couple, because I know you were talking about it and you brought it up a couple of times on a do not draft list.
Yeah.
I can imagine it's not like a 40-player list, but like if you have a top 5 or top 10, if you want to hit them out. I kind of think I know who number 1 is right now, just because I know you and look at the smile on your face. I get
we've said it already on the show. And
right. That's why I
keep saying it.
Is he a quarterback, and does he play for Kansas City?
He is the best NFL player. Okay.
That doesn't mean he's the best NFL.
He has a chance.
Football
He has a chance of being a top 5 all-time quarterback.
Right.
I mean, when I say has a chance, he's
I feel like a big butt coming here in a second.
on his way. But
yeah,
he's not a good fantasy quarterback.
Okay, I get
Just
it.
like Tom Brady, when he didn't have Randy Moss, was a phenomenal quarterback,
Right.
just not a epic fantasy football quarterback. Patrick Mahomes is the name. He's the person that when he had Tyreek Hill and when he had Kelsey in his prime, wow, yes, that was a difference. That's why he was number 1 at that time.
Right.
Time has passed. Years have passed. They are now on a 2 running back set, which I don't recommend either. And I say Pacheco and Hunt. And so right now you ultimately, in general, there's only one player to draft on that offense, and that's Xavier Worthy for me right now with Rashee Rice. Nobody loves Rashee Rice more than me. As it stands today, when we're doing the show right now, we really don't know how many weeks this guy's going to miss.
No, I mean, like, the reports are, and everything that I read on it, he'll play the first 4 or 5 weeks of the season, probably 4 weeks of the season, and then all of a sudden the NFL could come down, and this could be a double-digit suspension. Can you imagine drafting this guy in the 5th round, 4th round, something high, maybe even higher than that if you're in a 12-team league and he's a 3rd-round pick for your team? You get him for 4 weeks like we did last year. What was that tease last year? For the first, 2 or 3 weeks of the season with 2 weeks, he was the best wide receiver in football. And then all of a sudden...
Was he the nose pick of the year last year?
Yes, he was.
Did he come out the first 2 games like a number 1 wide receiver?
Yes.
Was I the happiest person in the world?
You were glowing on the podcast.
And then he died.
And then
it was over. And then I watched it. He went on an interception by Mahomes, goes to tackle the guy, and he collided with Mahomes.
I don't want to talk about it.
And here we are.
I don't want to talk about it.
Because I had him drafted in I don't want to talk about it.
Every league that we were in, we drafted him. Every league.
And it was the right pick. Rashee Rice is definitely a player that is drafted at your own risk. Right now, everything is suggesting it's going to be a multiple weeker, and you don't know when.
It's going to be double digits. You got to stay away from this
right
now. Right.
All of a sudden, it's round 7, round 8. You sort of filled in your lineup, and he's sitting there because everyone's scared.
That's a different story.
You never know.
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
That being said, overall, guys, Patrick Mahomes is going around 6th or 7th amongst all quarterbacks, and I'm telling you, he belongs around 14th or 15th. Enough said. The next one on our list was from last conversation with CJ Stroud in Houston.
Oh, boy.
Joe Mixon.
Joe.
This is it. This is the year. Make sure you do not take Jersey Joe.
I take him every year.
I'm going to put you on the spot.
Every
do you
year.
know who the backup there is? No shot.
Is it still Dameon Pierce?
No.
Kobe?
Hey!
Nick
I just
Chubb.
met Kobe a minute ago, but he brought the game.
Oh, that's why he's here. That's why I have Kobe
Nick
here.
Chubb coming a full removed, and I'm not recommending him. I'm just saying I think he's
Is
going to.
Pierce there also? Is that their running back?
It is
trio?
it is a trio.
Oh, my God.
Look, bottom line is
Stay away from ball.
stay from all.
All right, okay. I
Okay.
got you.
Najee Harris
Yeah, you said that earlier.
goes
I'm
to
with
the
that, too.
Chargers. I love the
Dude,
Chargers.
can't even see out of his left eye.
Love that
Firework?
offense for a running
Good.
back.
Right.
Oh, Marion Hampton.
Yeah. That's the
Najee.
guy. That's the guy.
The
Right.
Najee just never had that burst, and so it just didn't work out for him in Pittsburgh. And I don't really see it being more than a goal line type of guy in I say San Diego. I know it's Los Angeles.
I know, right? Right. I get you. All right, give me two more. Give me two more on a do not draft list.
All right,
Give me five.
we just saw the crazy story that Daniel Jones has been named starter over Anthony Richardson. What a great
What
a
world are we
fall
living in, right,
that
right.
they wouldn't give him at least 1 or 2 weeks. That's how far that got soured.
Right.
But no matter what, whether it's AR, whether it's Daniel Jones, Michael Pittman Jr. is not it. He was on this list last year, and what happened?
Yeah.
It was a disastrous
It was
year
bad, right.
until they could prove to me that they have a quarterback that could consistently get the ball to a wide receiver. I am not interested. The only weapons on that offense that I will take is Jonathan Taylor at the right spot and then Tyler Warren later on as a flyer. Let's see if this guy sticks as a tight end, and no more, no less. So I would keep Michael Pittman off. And then the last one's got a little controversy. I wanted to.
Oh, man. I'm actually not happy to hear this one, I think.
I'm not drafting Scary Terry McLaurin.
No.
Not doing it.
Wow.
Not
All
going to
right.
do it. You add Debo Samuel, it's
Right.
fine. He's still going to be the number one there. But there were so many plays last year, big plays, that were sort of busty plays. And he had let me tell you, McLaren couldn't have a better year than he did last year. Now, as we stand right now, he's in a contract negotiation
Right.
situation. He is off of the pup list or whatever. But I just don't see him replicating that.
Okay.
So there are other wide receivers in that range that I would pick before I go to Scary Terry. I think he's going to go too high. I think there's risk with his contract as it stands. So if you have a draft this upcoming weekend or this upcoming week, I would stay away from him. For me to draft him where he's going, which is right now mid-third to late fourth, I got to know he is in the power position
got it.
with Jaden Daniels,
Yep.
wide receiver one, no doubt. Otherwise, I think he is going to be overvalued this year.
Okay, I like that. Top 5 list of players to stay away from at this point. I like that. A little bit of controversy at the end with Scary Terry. Obviously, people are going to be
Not
all
to me,
over
it's
you.
not.
But everyone's going to be all over you from watching this podcast about not drafting Patrick Mahomes. So we'll see.
No, they're
how that
not.
works out. Yeah, there will be people.
Anybody?
Yes, there will.
Well, then they're fools.
Okay, there might be fools.
But you know what? We have fools,
Right,
right?
there are. There are plenty of fools.
Kobe, you a fool?
Kobe's not a
Are you
fool.
drafting Patrick Mahomes? Thank you.
Right, not
Thank
anymore.
you.
He's listening to the
Next.
podcast, right? All right, let's do 2 more things before we get out of here. Obviously, we're going to end off with the nose pick of the year. I'm excited to hear that because every year on the pre-draft, we do give one out. And if you watched this podcast or heard it over the last couple of years, when we were Zach in the nose, now we're Radio in the nose, the nose pick of the year for a couple of years, if you would have taken that person at any spot, you would have been very happy. Whether it was Radio Raheem one year, Raheem Mostert was absolutely bananas. We've had a couple of them. What
It was Aaron Jones. That's
Aaron
what put me on
Jones.
that.
That
Aaron
was
Jones.
it.
No one heard of the guy. All of a sudden, I'm like, trust me on this one, guys. And I told you to take him. Like, it was
like
probably the fourth,
14 touchdowns, something like that.
top 3 overall,
Right,
pop a
right.
collar type of move.
Right.
And we've had a really good run at it. But this year, I feel very confident.
All right, we're going to get to that in a second. We're going to do something that we do every single show. Normally during the regular season, we'll do it with a guy's start or sit or whatever it is. I tasked Kobe with this one for this one. I want him to help me out every single week. Him and the Brain Trust in the back here, the content team here at Backyard Breaks, because I feel like they're all in it and they see it every single day to give me a couple yes or no's here. I do not have a 10th question for you here today because I want Kobe's questions to be the highlights of this
All right,
one.
Kobe.
So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for our award-winning segment that we do here on Radio and the Nose. Our first time here on Radio and the Nose doing it, but you've heard us do it on our other podcasts for the last 15 or 16 years. It is called Yes or No's. I will ask Nose normally 10 questions, with the 10th question being some sort of life or some sort of food question, which he normally never gets right because I am the only one that has the master list and the answers to that question. But for this one here, 9 questions, fantasy football-wise, to get you ready for the fantasy football season and the football season in general, and the sports season now that we're in a funny type of year, right, at this point. Okay, let's start with number 1 here, fantasy football-wise. Nose, is Trevor Lawrence a top 10 quarterback in the NFL? Yes or no's?
Knows. And by NFL, we are a fantasy show, so knows he is not a top 10 fantasy quarterback. Does he have the potential to be? He's had the potential to be that since year 1. It hasn't happened. But let me tell you something. Brian Thomas Jr. is special.
Stud.
If you guys saw him play in college like I did live in front of me, beating the heck out of me, let me tell you, what we saw last year is real. Travis Hunter is also a stud. He finally has the weapons. Am I putting him as a top 10 fantasy quarterback? Absolutely not.
I love it.
Let's see him do it because Sunshine, let me tell you, Sunshine, it's now or never, man. Like, seriously, I don't know how much longer Jacksonville could keep up with the very, very average seasons you've had. Mac Jones was great last year for Brian Thomas Jr. I'm really curious to see what Trevor Lawrence does. But in terms of top 10, no.
All right. Number 2 here. I think I could probably answer this one because of all the stuff we've done together. Josh Allen is the best fantasy quarterback in the NFL, yes or no's?
Yes. Now, it is darn close with our friend Lamar Jackson, okay?
Yeah.
It really is. But that's 1 and 1A, and I'm telling you, for me, with the way Josh Allen now, he is very similar to Jalen Hurts. Now, it's not a butt push, but when he's on the 1 yard line, he is running it in often, and that is with Jimmy Cook, who has also led the NFL in rushing touchdowns last year. But overall, there is nobody I want running my offense in fantasy than Josh Allen.
Can you call it the tush push, not the butt push? It's killing me.
I'm getting it wrong?
Yeah, you're saying like butt push, right, Kobe? Isn't that what he's saying? Say the goddamn tush push when you say it.
I messed up.
I know. It's just you're irking me.
You're embarrassing me.
I know. That's what this
On my
podcast
own
is all
show.
about. I know. That's what it is. Of course. All right, third one. October is the best month of the year. Yes or no's?
No.
Whoa, what is that?
Are the Florida Gators playing the Miami Hurricanes in October? No, they're playing them in September.
All right.
We have the NFL opening. We have the college
football.
opening, and then
Right.
a little taste of what I believe the Ryder Cup as well. Is it September?
Wow, look at you.
I hope I got
Sports
that. I
savant.
made it up, I will say.
I think you
know
might have,
this
but
year.
it sounded great. Right.
Feels great.
Wow, it did. The best players should sit out all of preseason. Yes or no's?
Yes, we don't need those players playing,
Okay.
okay? Like, I'm talking about veterans also. For example, if you're Christian McCaffrey, you do not need to be playing preseason.
Right. I wouldn't want that either at that point. Here's a good fantasy one for you. Auction drafts are better than regular snake drafts. Yes or no's?
Yes, there is nothing. Good job, Cubby. There is nothing more exciting than using your brain in one of those drafts and having the opportunity of going into a draft. And no matter what random selection you get,
Right.
whether it's the one you could have anybody you want, there is nothing better than figuring out your budget. So, guys, if you haven't done an auction and you have the ability to, and or your league is open to the idea of it, there is no better feeling. And make sure you get your friends totally messed up, get them drunk, get them high, whatever it needs to be done, because, my God, you need to be focused for that, for sure.
Yeah, I'm not good in auction drafts for those 2 reasons you just said. Scary Terry McLaurin will be a commander all season long. Yes or no's?
Yes, they're going to sign him. There's
Okay.
no doubt they're going to sign him, but no's. I'm not loving him, as we discussed in the last segment.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Micah Parsons will be a Dallas Cowboy all year long. Yes or no's?
Oh, God.
It's a tough one, right?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to
Okay.
say this is what they called it, a soap opera.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a really great job, buddy. I guess when you're Jerry Jones and you're that age, you just don't have to give a shit
Yeah, he
anymore
doesn't.
about anything.
He doesn't.
But overall, I think it would be a disaster if they didn't make him the most expensive or highest paid player in all of sports.
I agree.
Or
I
defense.
actually agree with that. If he's not a Dallas Cowboy,
You always agree.
No, I don't. I didn't agree with you before. I told you not to call it the butt push or whatever the hell you were calling it.
No, you were making fun of me because I didn't know the term properly.
All right, touche. Well done. The Cincinnati Bengals are the most overrated team in the NFL. Yes or no's?
No's. I mean, I understand the defense has got some problems.
A lot of issues.
But we hope they addressed it. Last year, a complete disaster, but you don't call them, what was it, the worst team in the overrated team?
Overrated,
Not
yes,
without
yes.
offense. Oh, man, if they could stay healthy this year, Joe Burrow, to me, is, I said Josh Allen is probably the one quarterback I want leading my fantasy team.
Yeah.
And he's probably one of the quarterbacks I do want leading my NFL team. Outside of Patrick Mahomes, who is the number one in this category.
Right.
Joe Burrow has it. He's a dog. And so you can't call the most overrated team a player that has a dog that wants to win that much with those weapons. So not the most overrated
Well said.
team. That's the Miami Dolphins.
Oh, man. God, why don't you punch me in the nuts right before I get to the next one? Will the Lions be a powerhouse without Ben Johnson and the departures? Yes or no?
No, they're going to still be a powerhouse. You got to believe that Dan Campbell, there's going to have a protege there, that they are going to keep the same culture. I expect that offense to be very similar.
Okay. The Saints are going to go 0-17 this year. Yes or no's?
Yes, why not? I mean, who's their quarterback? What are they
Spencer
doing?
Rattler.
I mean, maybe.
Jeez.
And I can't even pronounce the other, Tyler Hucka.
Yes.
And, I mean, they have Chris Olave and they have Alvin Kamara, and those are nice players. But where do you draft an Olave? And that is the question for the Stars. And the answer is he's going to get targets if he can stay healthy. He's actually could be a steal in the round 5 or round 6, believe it or not, because he's that good of a player.
Right.
But overall, this is a team I want to avoid
At all costs.
when you got no quarterback, you're in big trouble.
Right. Sidebar for that: are you taking Olave or Kamara on any of your teams?
Sidebar: there is a place for every single player.
Okay.
Kamara becomes a really good
Right, I feel like he's
value
gonna eat a lot,
player
right? Yeah.
at some round. Say in the late third, you're looking at it, you're like, how is this guy still there? Because no matter what, volume and touches and targets are all that matter in fantasy football. If you have the opportunity, then you got some value. Kamara, year in, year out, is that guy. Now, him and Derrick Henry, at one point, the wheels are going to fall off.
Right.
When's it going to be? Let's find out.
Maybe not this year. All right, last one here, since there's no life question or anything like that. Ashton Genty is going to win Rookie of the Year, yes or no's?
Yes,
Definitive yes
no
on that, right?
doubt. This guy, look, if you're drafted in the top 10, okay, in an NFL draft like Saquon Barkley was, there's going to be a ridiculous amount of emphasis on getting you the ball, okay? The whole thing over the last 15 years, it feels like, is you don't draft a running back. You don't use a first-round pick with a running back.
Right.
Well, this year you got two, right? You got Genty and you got Omarion and Hampton.
Right.
And so those guys are going to get the ball. I am not afraid of rookie running backs in fantasy. I'll double down. I think there's value by people being afraid of it. You don't be afraid of it, and you go grab them. And I told you, I love Genty at the overall in the 9th slot overall. Hampton is a late second-round pick. These are going to be high-level players.
All right, I like it. All right, that was our first edition here of Yes and the Nose on Radio
did
and the
good.
Nose. How about that? You did
Okay.
well. How about Colby with the questions?
Usually, don't we have like the Family Feud playing in the background?
Yes.
Times have changed.
We're going to work on that kind of stuff. I had to make sure Kobe saw us first before we started reeling all this stuff.
I'm putting pressure on the man already.
You already did, and that's fine. But he did a good job with Yes
It
and
was
No's.
actually a lovely one.
He did a really
It was
good
a
one.
lovely
Yeah,
one.
he did a good one. This is a good test. Kobe, you passed. Well done. All right, that's going to bring us here to the end of Radio on the Nose. But before we do that, as we will in the end of every single one of our podcasts, we're going to give a nose pick of the week out every single week, where you'll love a guy each single week, whether it's in daily fantasy or whatever the case may be. But this is a big one here, because this is our pre-draft podcast where Nose is going to give out his nose pick of the year. This is a big-time player that Nose loves, that you need to get on your team this year, that could have a breakout. Like we said before, we've had nose picks of the year before, that some of them have worked out to be top 3, top 5 players in fantasy by the time the season's over, and not drafted like that in the beginning of the season. That is what we're trying to do here. We're not trying to give you nose pick of the year being Saquon Barkley. That's not what we're going here. But we are going to give you a decent name. I'm excited to hear who it is. And without further ado, the nose pick of the year is...
So this year, the nose pick of the year is going in the second round, sometimes early in the third round, but he's climbing the boards, and for all the right reasons. This is a must-have in fantasy, especially in the first round if you draft a wide receiver. What a wonderful pick this is.
Chef's kiss.
Even if you have a running back, this is still a wonderful, wonderful pick. Let me tell you something. You have brought up the Cincinnati Bengals offense.
Uh-oh.
I'm obsessed with Chase Brown. Chase Brown is this year's nose pick of the year, and I'm making a bold call. Okay, this is a top 3 fantasy running back when all is said and done, year to date, in a half a point or full point PPR league. And let me explain to you why. This is a high octane offense. This is one of the best offenses, okay? So they can't crowd the line, Zach. They can't do that at all.
Right.
They have to double team Chase, and T. Higgins is a star.
Monster.
There is no backup to Chase Brown.
Right,
He
right.
got like 96% of the running back share last year after what was like week 6 or something.
Right.
When he is in the game, he is not coming out. And he is their goal line running back. What was it? The phrase?
bell cow.
No, it was the push tush.
The tush push.
There ain't no tush pushes going on with Joe
Right,
Burrow.
right. No
okay,
way.
I promise you that.
Right.
So Chase Brown is not only going to get the goal line carries, not only is he a great receiver of the ball, but there's nobody even going to give him a spell. He's going to be in there all the time. He doesn't come out on third downs. So Chase Brown is going to be your all-purpose back, and I am obsessed with him. So if you can get him late in your second round, I mean, I'm looking at like 15th pick right now.
Right.
I love him. And if you have the 17th or 18th pick, I'm nervous because he's still on the board and I have a shot to get him.
You need to grab
He
him.
is going to be the piece that fills out your team because he's going to be a running back top 3 overall, and he's going to be a mid to late second round pick. So, ladies and gentlemen, Chase Brown is going to be your nose pick of the year. I'm expecting, and I know he's a second rounder. I'm not going with the 6th rounder this year, but I'm going with a guy who is going to be an overall top 3 player in all running backs, probably top 10 in all position, not quarterback on the year. So go get him in the second round. Chase Brown, nose pick of the year.
I love that. We did it. Our first episode in the back. Chase Brown. First off, there's a guy upstairs named Maul, who's one of our co-pilots up here, who is now going to be your best friend. He is the biggest Chase Brown supporter of all time. Once he hears this and once he sees this, that's over. You
Don't know him?
You have a new best friend in the
He
building.
totally
You don't even
gets
know
it,
him
that guy.
You don't even know it
He
yet.
gets it.
But you have a new best friend.
Okay.
All right, that's going to do it for us. Our first edition here of Radio and the Nose. How'd we do, Radio? What do you think? Or how'd we do?
I'm the nose. I mean, look, this is the first time we've done it on camera.
I know.
I was like,
We're usually doing it like a Zoom call. This is a little different.
I went with a very PG rated start.
You were good.
'cause
It's gonna
I'm
get
not
worse during the season.
I can't help myself. I have a very foul mouth.
Yeah, you do.
But I am finally off pedestrian radio,
You are.
where I could finally be my true self. So thank you for listening, everybody. It's always fun doing this.
We
with
love
you.
doing
Thank
this,
you
right.
to Backyard Breaks.
Of
and,
course,
I'll
of
let
course.
you do your finish as you always sign off.
That's
for us.
right. All right, that's going to do it for us here. This is Radio and the Nose, our new podcast we're going to be doing here every single week for fantasy football on the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network. We're going to have a lot of fun this season. We're going to try to educate you the most. If you are in the comment section, if we do drop clips and you are in the comment section, you have some questions that you want to kind of have on the next episode, drop them in there. We will bring some of those up. Kobe will help us out getting all those. Kobe's going to be doing yes or no's all season long, as Nose is getting phone calls here left and right. We are going to have to sign off at this point. So for the Nose, for our boy Kobe in the back, who is our number one, our ace here on the Live at a Dollar Podcast Network, I am Radio. This is Radio's Yard. This has been Radio and the Nose Fantasy Football Show, brought to you by our very good friends here at Backyard Breaks, who are the power behind Live at a Dollar. We'll see you guys next week. That's the Nose. That's Kobe. I'm Radio. This is Radio's Yard. Radio's Yard. I love it. You love that, by the way. I love Radio's Yard.
I'm loving the new radio.
This is Radio and the Nose Fantasy Football Podcast on the Live at a Dollar Network. We will
radio.
see you next week.